Hello, Facebook. Happy Valentine's Day. Julie here. I wanted to jump on. I'm not going to be on here very long, but I wanted to jump on here and do a really simple watercolor project. You can do at home. And I actually have this template. I can email it to you or send it to you as a direct download. So I wanted to share this with you. So if you want to, in the comments, just put free gift or template, and I'll go back and I'll attach the link. But what this is this is just 1 Corinthians 13, 4 through 8. And even if you're not, a Bible reading person, I love this because we all need more of this in our lives. So I'll just read it. You guys are all probably very familiar, but love is patient and kind. Love does not envy or boast. It is not arrogant or rude. It does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice at wrongdoing, but rejoices with the truth. Love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things, and love never ends. So once again, even if you're not, a churchgoer or a Bible reader, this is just a beautiful poem, a scripture. And so I wanted to show you how to make one of these, and it's my Valentine's Day gift to you. So I printed this on I printed this on cardstock. So if you're going to you can print this on regular printer paper, but cardstock is just, it's a little meatier, it's a little thicker, so it will hold up to the water better. Printer paper has a tendency to kind of warp and get bubbly, but once again, if you don't have cardstock, you can very easily do this with just printer paper. I'm going to use a little bit of masking tape just to hold this down because we are dealing with water, and water does puddle and move. So I'm just going to do this so it just kind of holds it down while I'm creating. So once again, I just printed this on cardstock. I do have the template available if you want it. I'm just using some dry watercolors. These are from Michael's, but you can get watercolors anywhere. Walmart, Target, Dollar Tree, Dollar General. They don't have to be fancy expensive. I think this was like $5, and I've used it many a times. But just get some watercolors. If you have kids at home, stash their art collection, because most kids have watercolors somewhere in their stash. So once again, this is just printed on cardstock, but you can print it on regular printer paper. And if you want this template, just put Happy Valentine's Day, free gift, download, whatever you want. And then I'm going to show you, once I'm done painting this, how you could kind of attach it to maybe some pretty scrapbook paper and hang this maybe in your bedroom, or if you have a place where you read or pray or just need encouragement. And since it is Valentine's Day, I think I'm going to do some reds and some pinks. I'll put my palette right there so you can see. Like I said, I'm not going to be on here very long. The nice thing about watercolor is it doesn't take very long. So I just kind of put my brush in some water so it absorbs some water, and then I just kind of smush it around in the watercolor. Smush, very artistic, professional term. And I'm just going to come in here and kind of blob this around. I like kind of that marbled, abstract kind of look when it comes to watercolors. You could very easily paint a beautiful picture, paint a sunset, paint a rainbow, but I really like this kind of blobby, abstract look, if you will. So I'm just kind of smushing my brush around. You can see this is not rocket science. It's very, very forgiving. And the nice thing with watercolor is when they dry, you can add a second layer. So let's say I kind of come through here and I want to intensify some of my colors. I could always come back and add another layer. But once again, I went ahead and made up the template that has 1 Corinthians 13, 4 through 8. And what I did is when I created it, I actually saved it as a template. So let's say you don't like this font. You can go in and change it. The website is Canva, and it's free, and it's very easy to use. So if you want this, hi, Michelle, how are you doing today? Happy Valentine's Day, my friend. You may not know this, but Michelle is actually my middle name. So whenever I see Michelle pop up, it makes me smile because that's part of my name. So happy Valentine's Day, Michelle. But once again, if you don't like this kind of hand lettered calligraphy font, you can change it up. So that's why I made it a template instead of something that it's just like a PDF. But if you want this template that has 1 Corinthians 13, 4 through 8, just kind of put in the comments, Happy Valentine's Day. You could put love, you could put free gift, whatever you want. But once again, you can get real creative and paint like a pretty rainbow or clouds or a flower. Now my mental juices are all going. I thought I was just gonna like jump on here and do this blobby technique, and I'm like, oh, how pretty would it be to paint a flower? I'm gonna show you this technique really, really quickly, just so you know. So one of my favorite ways to paint a real quick like flower or rose is I'm just gonna take my paint and you paint like a C shape, and then you paint another one going the opposite direction so they kind of interlock, kind of like a yin-yang type of look. And then now you just start making bigger C shape, backward C shape, and have them kind of overlap. So if you wanted to, let's say you wanted to paint a bouquet of flowers behind this, that'd be really pretty. That's a freebie twofer. But see how pretty that looks. And then where the water kind of puddles, it makes it a little bit darker. So that's a real pretty way if you wanted to do flowers. But like I said, since I'm doing my marbly kind of smushy look, I'm going to keep going with that. Like, I love watercolors, but I also dislike watercolors. And why, would you ask? If any of you guys have seen some of my artwork, I like details. Well, I naturally gravitate towards creating very realistic, lots of details when it comes to my art. I always kind of say people have their own artistic kind of signature or handwriting. So mine is very realistic, very tight, detail oriented. But you know what's funny is as soon as I go to an art gallery or a museum or look at art on Pinterest or Instagram, the style I'm attracted to visually is very loose and sketchy and dreamlike, almost kind of abstract. So it's kind of weird what my natural artistic style or tendency, it's completely opposite from what I naturally create. So I always kind of joke, you know, I have thick dark hair and I'm short. So of course I want to be a tall blonde. You know, if you have straight hair, you want curly. If you have blue eyes, you want brown or whatever. So I don't know if my theory is true, but I have found that usually when I am creating art, what I am naturally attracted to is opposite. So all that to say, the reason why I love watercolor is because they are hard to control. If you've looked at artwork, Michelle says, same, I love the exact, do you love your style or do you love the opposite of your style? But when you look at watercolors, they're usually very, it's almost like the impression of a sunset, or it's almost like the impression of two kids playing or whatever it is, a dog, whatever the art is. It's just very soft and kind of, like I said, just kind of the suggestion, because watercolor is very hard to get exact details. When I'm using pastels or pencils and I can erase and get real, you know, a fine tip point on my pencil and draw real minute details, that's easier for me to get precision. So I love watercolors because I know that it's not going to be, I can't control it the way I do other mediums. Is this a weird lecture? I'm Valentine's Day and I'm talking about artistic styles. All that to say, there's freedom in this because I know I can't make it look exact. So I kind of, that perfectionist in me kind of goes, okay, you know, I'm just going to have fun. I'm going to blob my brush around. I'm going to do puddles of water. And it kind of takes off that pressure of it has to be perfect. So Michelle says, yeah, you love the exact opposite of your style. Isn't that so funny? I don't know. Like I said, it's always like most people, when I do paint parties, like I said, because I've done this long enough, I can kind of, you know, like I can look at somebody getting perfectly straight line or that color to be exactly matched. And I'm like, let me guess, you're a type A, aren't you? You know, or if somebody's just having fun doing whimsical swirls. And I'm like, I could tell you're a little, you know, maybe a little tree hugger, a little, you know, not that that's a bad thing. I'm a tree hugger myself. But it's just kind of funny how much you can tell somebody's personality just by their artwork. But all that to say, so I like this very kind of abstract style. But once again, if that's not your jam, if you want to do flowers or if you want to do, like I said, a rainbow or a sunset, I'm going to mix it up and add some other colors. So I'm going to do some blue. But like I said, I just wanted to share this with you. I love, love, love 1 Corinthians 13, 4 through 8. It's read at most weddings, or it's a very romantic. Love is, reminding you of all the wonderful things about love. So even if you're not a Bible reader or a churchgoer, that is perfectly fine. We all need more love in our lives, more positive things in our lives. So Michelle says, I'm more precise, but I love those loose styles. That's honestly I think it's because if I can create something, I'm like, that's not hard if I can do it. But when I see people just do like with a few gesture strokes or a few color blending that seems effortless, and I'm trying to go like, how did they do that? Like I'm trying to break it down systematically. So for me, there's a little bit of awe, a little bit of mysticism in that art style. And it's so funny because when people compliment me on my art, I'm like, oh, it's not that hard. Like you just do this and this and this. But I have to understand that people, something about my art speaks to them too, the way other people's artwork speaks to me. And once again, I know this is very abstract and weird sounding. But I've had to learn how to accept that compliment. So when people go, oh, that's nice, I have to say, they see something in it that they admire or speaks to them. And so I just have to accept that compliment versus going, oh, well, here, let me break it down so it's not that not that complicated. Michelle says, I love texture too, but can stand seeing brush strokes my own. Yeah, isn't that so funny? Robin, I'll get the template to you right after I am done with this. But like I said, this is just something pretty you can put in your house. You can give this as a gift. Once I'm done painting this, what I'm going to do is show you how pretty it looks over just a piece of scrapbook paper. But honestly, so this is an 8.5 by 11, so you could even put a mat around it if you wanted to. But I just think this would be really pretty. Like I said, you could paint it this kind of cloud, fluffy, marbly look with watercolors. And like I said, I'm just kind of smushing my brush around. Or you can paint flowers, you could paint a rainbow, you could paint anything. And because watercolors are usually like real see-through, they're real opaque. Translucent, I think is actually the word I'm looking for, not opaque. The words will come through, but you could always come back with a fine-tipped black pen and go over the words again if you can't see it through the paint. Because you could even use watered-down acrylics. You don't have to use watercolor. Watercolor is a very, most people, if they have kids at home, there's usually a watercolor set floating around somewhere. So I just wanted to make this real simple. But like I said, I just think it's really pretty. I love this scripture. It reminds me, I have to slow down and be patient. That is one of my hardest virtues that I work on is patience. But like I said, it just kind of, when I read this, it gives me time to pause, time to kind of reacclimate if I'm stressed out or frustrated. But it reminds me of the things that I need to strive for to be loving in my life, which I always am trying to be. Not always successful, but definitely trying to be. So once I'm just going to read this again as I paint, just because it's so beautiful. And like I said, this is a very, very quick project, but love is patient and kind. Love does not envy or boast. Once again, I'm so good at, and look what I did. If your heart is rooted in love, you're not boasting. And you're also not being envious of other people. It is not arrogant or rude, which I know I can be those things very, very easily. So I work on those. It does not insist on its own way. So being gracious, also being gracious with ourselves. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice at wrongdoing. And that's hard because sometimes, especially in today's climate, I'm not going to go much more beyond that, but it's, my side, their side, I win, you lose, I win. But that's, if your heart is rooted in love, that's not where, that's an automatic, should be an automatic sign to you that is not where a heart of love would be. It rejoices with the truth. Love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, and endures all things. Love never ends. I love that. So if you guys are on watching live, or even if you're watching the replay, happy Valentine's Day. Let me know if you're doing anything fun today. Jeremy's working right now. He actually is doing a half day, so we can kind of spend some time together this afternoon. But we are such an odd couple. And more than one way. But when we were first dating, it was our first, well, to rewind a little bit, Jeremy and I were just completely platonic friends for about a year and a half, almost 2 years before we even like, hey, you're kind of cute, we should go on a date. So like one of our very first official dates was and our very first Valentine's Day date. I'm very cheap and thrifty, and Jeremy had some coupons for a Chinese restaurant in Stockton back in California. I'm in Montana now, but Jeremy and I both are from California. So we went to a Chinese restaurant with a coupon, and then this is, okay, please don't judge me. This is one of my weird oddities. I have many, I don't share them all. I love everything Silence of the Lambs, Hannibal Lecter, like that to me is, I love the whole series. I've read all the books, seen all the movies, watched all the weird, spin-off shows. But there's a new show called Clarice, which is based off of Clarice from Silence of the Lambs. And so we're going to watch that. We recorded it. So our big romantic evening, I know I'm weird. please love me still, is we're going to have Chinese, food takeout. We're going to get some from town and bring it home and then watch Clarice, the new Hannibal Lecter show. So, anyways, those are my romantic plans with my husband. And some puppy snuggles too, but please don't judge me. I'm bearing my soul and my weird oddities, but yes, I do love Hannibal Lecter. So once again, this is a very quick project. And if you need a last minute Valentine's Day gift, who doesn't love a hand painted piece of art? But very, very pretty. Once again, you can decorate this however you want. As your paints dry, if you want your colors to be a little more vivid, a little more vibrant, just let it dry. And you can add a second layer. And once again, I love, Michelle says weirdos, just kidding. It's okay. So here, I'm going to show you even more of my weirdo-ness. Let me finish this first. If you want to see my true weirdo-ness is, which is not a real word, wait till the end. So once again, I'm going to do this real quick. I'm going to take off this masking tape. The masking tape just kind of helped keep the paper in place. And also, if you are using just regular printer paper, I'm using cardstock. Your paper may kind of warp and wobble a little bit. So if you just put a little bit of masking tape to hold it in place. But now I'm going to have these weird places where the paint didn't touch because of the tape. So I'm just going to blend in some color and nobody will be the wiser. So if you are just jumping on, this is a free gift, my Valentine's Day gift to you. I have this template. It's 1 Corinthians 13, 4 through 8, talking about how patient love is. Working on that myself. But like I said, every time I read this, it just gives me pause to kind of stop and make sure that my heart is operating from a place of love, because that is definitely what I want. Try and live my life. But once again, see, I just kind of smushed up close. It's not fancy. You'll see some of the places where the colors overlapped. And once again, you don't have to do this style if you want to use a rainbow, paint flowers, however you want to decorate it. I just wanted to show you a real simple technique. And then what you could do is, this is just a piece of cardstock, but I just wanted to show you how pretty you can make, something very simple. So this is kind of looks like wood grain. I love rustic and kind of distressed, but you could tape that on there, glue that on there, and just have a really pretty, something in your house, something in your bedroom. Maybe if you have a corner where you kind of meditate and pray, just something to remind you the goodness of love. So fun, easy project. Like I said, I wanted to not be on here too long, but I wanted to wish you guys all a happy Valentine's Day and share a gift. If you want the template for 1 Corinthians, just put free gift, happy Valentine's Day, love, whatever, and I'll be more than happy to share that with you. And also, so when you get the download, it's a template. So if you don't like this font, if you don't like this kind of hand lettered, kind of loopy, cursive-y look, if you want like a different look, you can go in and change the font. So now here's my weirdo-ness. I have a gift from my husband. Oh, I'm gonna have to walk around and see if I can not knock everything over. But just as an I love you gift a few years back. Oh shoot. I have to use my chair to step on to reach it. So 1 second, but I do want to share this with you because then you'll really understand how much of a weirdo I am. So as an I love you gift, 1 year, Jeremy ordered it from Amazon, and he's like, okay, or we have a joint Amazon account. He's like, you can't look at what I ordered you. And I like getting gifts. I don't like to be the surprise to be spoiled. So I'm like, okay, so I didn't look. And so when it was delivered, I don't even collect, it's a Funko Pop. I don't collect Funko Pops. And if you don't know what a Funko Pop is, I'll show you. They're these kind of weird little figurines, but he got me my very own Hannibal Lecter Funko Pop. So like I said, I know I'm a weirdo. But our romantic Valentine's Day date is Chinese food and watching the new Clarice show because it's kind of a tradition. And now you guys know some of the skeletons in my closet. Please don't judge me. Please love me. Michelle says, OMG. Yeah, like I said, true love. I always joke that Jeremy is my lobster, if you guys are familiar with Friends. But he truly is my lobster. Like, we get each other so well. So my little Hannibal Funko Pop. But once again, I'm going to get off of Facebook and go get ready for my hot date tonight. But I did want to share this template with you. I hope you guys all have a wonderful Valentine's Day, whether you're celebrating with a loved one or Zooming or just doing puppy snuggles. But I hope you guys all have a great, great day. We'll chat with you soon.